A massive immigration enforcement crackdown has led to hundreds of arrests in a matter of days.
The administration claimed it was targeting violent gangs and criminals.
You had President Trump rounding up international gangbangers. They are robbing, kidnapping, raping, torturing, and murdering Americans. The president has absolute statutory and constitutional authority to get them the hell out of our country.
But many others were being swept up too.
Immigrants with legal status or no criminal history are also being detained and deported.
Many of the deported men lack criminal records in the United States, according to ICE.
The families of some of those men deported say not all of them are gang members.
How do you know that this person in front of you actually is a gang member? What if they say they're not? Do they have a right to some kind of process to go before a judge and say, mistaken identity, I'm just a barber, I'm just a soccer player. This tattoo you say is a gang tattoo is just my favorite team. What's your proof?
They are deporting people they've said are very dangerous gang members. But everyone in the country who's accused of something has basic rights of due process, which in this case would mean a hearing to determine whether they are in fact members of this gang and whether they are subject to deportation under the law. That's the process that the administration has tried to short circuit.
He's saying, all I'm doing is deporting criminal gangs, or I'm taking action against murderers and rapists. And it's very hard to get people worked up over concepts like due process, a legal term, right? But you know who does get very, very agitated about due process? Judges.
In an emergency lawsuit, ACLU lawyers presented federal Judge Jeb Boasberg with startling evidence. The government was racing to deport alleged gang members to a notorious prison in El Salvador without any judicial review.
Trump was rushing people onto planes. Judge Boasberg said, slow down, temporary restraining order, let's figure out. Let's freeze the status quo into place, let's figure out whether this is legal or not. You need to turn those planes around, bring these people back to the United States. And the Trump administration did not turn the planes around. They handed more than 100 people off to a prison in El Salvador. So that raises the question, not only was this legal to do in the first place, but did they violate a court order?
That was an extraordinary act. Virtually all presidents throughout history have acknowledged that you have to obey court orders, that if you disagree with a court order, it's not optional to refuse to comply with it. The answer is to appeal.
It's very close to just the kind of clash that everybody's fearing between the executive branch and the judicial branch. It seems possible that for the first time in the United States history, a president might just say he's not going to listen to the courts.
I'm happy those planes landed in El Salvador because the president had a constitutional duty to ignore that lawless and dangerous order and land those planes in El Salvador. This Boasberg, the clown, thinks he's the commander-in-chief. He thinks he can order the president to turn around military planes carrying terrorists. What the hell is Jeb Boasberg thinking that he thinks he can expose and sabotage an ongoing military operation? Judge Boasberg does not have the jurisdiction to do what he did. He did not have the power to do what he did, and what he did was lawless.
The judge in this case is essentially trying to say that the president doesn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists from our American soil.
Judge Boasberg fired back, ruling there was probable cause the administration was guilty of criminal contempt. And Boasberg wasn't alone.
The immigration standoff is heating up between the Trump administration and the courts.
Court after court ruling against Trump.
U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy ruled the U.S. government must retain custody of migrants,
challenging the deportations.
A federal judge appointed by President Trump blocked the administration from summarily removing migrants in South Texas,
finding the administration was violating people's due process rights.
A federal judge says the Trump administration violated a court order for again sending migrants to a country they're not from without due process.
The Trump administration is now formally complying with the Supreme Court order to bring back Abrego Garcia.
This is a victory for due process. It's a victory for the Constitution.
The American public may not even know it as due process, but they know that whenever the government comes against them, whether it be in a criminal proceeding, a civil proceeding, where the government intends to take away your property or your liberty, that you're entitled to be heard. The Trump administration does not want to give those people the opportunity simply to make their case to the federal government that they're not members of the gang at all. That's about as rudimentary and fundamental to America as anything that I can conceive of.